Now, WNWY reports across the globe from What's News with You, with comedians Josh Johnson and Ashley Gavin, and you, our reporters in the field. What's News with You?
We have two great talents. Let's see how they mix.
What an incredibly rude way to start. I invite my friend, one of my closest friends on my new project, and you come in being like, well, we'll see how this works out.
Isn't this what the fans are all wondering? I mean, isn't this primarily the premise of the podcast?
I mean, maybe. I feel like...
The premise of the podcast is whether or not Josh and I can make something good?
Yeah. Kind of. That's
no,
what
it is better that you double down every time because it does make the initial thing so much more funny. Like if you had been like, no, I don't mean it like that. Like I think the fact that you're like, no, I want to know.
He's like, you're both autistic in your own individual ways. Let's see how this goes.
I want to know if you can.
You're a genius whose intellect I legitimately have social trouble keeping. Why is your hand already up?
I
can only go one at a time.
Okay, go.
Very kind.
You're a genius whose intellect I literally have concerns about not being able to keep up with socially. And you're gay. I mean,
oh my
no,
God.
I'm just kidding.
You fucking dick.
You're a wonderful, extraordinarily talented podcaster you have never podcasted with. And the question is...
You're a genius, and I can hold a conversation.
I mean, we'll...
You're a genius in your own right, but he's more of a genius the way you picture a genius.
Yes, he is a genius in the sense that if we were going to take the guy from A Beautiful Mind and turn him into comedy A Beautiful Mind, it is... I almost worry about you a little bit.
Yeah.
When are you not writing a bit?
Probably never. Like, it's probably not healthy. Like, on a long enough timeline, this is a mistake.
Does the world avail itself to you as bits?
I think it's more the way that, like, Charlie in It's Always Sunny sees life in cartoons. It's more like that. It's like I wish I was always, like, trying to break down and distill this thing very specifically. But sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's kind of goofy. But the goofy thing is, like, actually bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense what I'm saying? Sometimes the goofy thing is like there's mass corruption in an African country. Right. And it's like so cartoonishly corrupt that they said they built a stadium and it's still just a pile of dirt, but they got the money for the stadium. And then I'm like, well, that is kind of funny.
You see the bit immediately.
Yeah,
you can't
but it is
horrific. See the bit. Yeah.
And it's not always conducive with like real life with people.
The reason why it seems genius to me is because I think, which is kind of what you're saying, it's like your base operating model spews out bits instead of conversation, which is the thing that we all strive to do and cannot.
But it would be like if,
you just will have to have like a bad social life for the rest of your life.
Your retirement is going to be weird.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. That's what it feels like now. It feels like if you had, like, let's say you had a superpower, like you could fly, but you also couldn't come down. So you're also like almost not flying because you can't come down. And then everyone else is like, hey, do you want to go to a party with me? And it's like, oh, I can't get inside. Right. Like, I'm too hot to get inside.
When people say they want the superpower of flight, they assume they can still walk once they get it.
Yes,
unfortunately, you were given the superpower of bits without the ability to talk normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's the worst.
I have a bit... this is a riff that I do about you, and it's done out of respect, to be clear.
That's very kind.
But I was talking to my friend about how you speak in bits.
I love this riff.
Yeah.
And so our joke is that when you do a stand-up set, you think it's crowd work. Because you're like, that's how I talk to people. So you're like, oh, I'm just like another hack crowd work comic.
That's
you
so
think
funny.
You're doing crowd work because
that is
the way you talk to
it's just a one-sided conversation.
In the middle of it, you're like, oh, where are you from? What do you do? Who are you with here? I haven't spoken to her yet.
Yeah. In my head, I've just like talked about Young Thug for 40 minutes, but just not let anyone get a word in. And then I'm like, man, that was rough.
Well, we're going to find out whether or not this works out.
Let's find out.
According to Lucas.
Ashley, what's news with you? You know, you gotta
fucking nailed it.
You gotta slide it in. You know,
I can't believe I had any concerns about how this would work.
Okay, I have two newses.
Yeah, live.
One is related to my physical well-being.
Okay.
You guys can pick. That's sort of the one I thought we might lean towards because both of you are kind of gym guys.
Okay.
And then the other one was something I was socially bombarded today with something that I didn't anticipate. Do you guys have a choice that you want to?
Look, my choice, I'm not gonna lie, is both. I'm thinking we double dip.
Okay. Let me tell you what happened to me with my body, and then if it doesn't land very well, I'll do the next one. But I hurt. I have an injury. It's a little better today, but I hurt my neck and my shoulders to the point where I'm interacting with people kind of turning from my hips like I have, like a kid in middle school with scoliosis. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out Carter, one of my best friends with scoliosis. That's how you turn. I was turning like you.
Shout out Carter.
I was doing the full turn to people because on stage, by the way, I was performing like this, which is not... I already stand. You know how you can tell someone has either PTSD or autism or something from the way that they stand?
Yes.
I already have that. So I didn't need to throw a neck injury onto it, but that's what I did. And the way that I got it is so embarrassing. I just was ramping up my workout routine and I did some like shoulders and some arms, and like 2 days later, my neck hurt really bad. And I was like, why would this hurt my neck so bad?
Yeah.
So I started Googling. And it was like, all the Reddit pages were like, how's your posture? How's your posture? And I was like, am I not strong enough just the way that I stand that I can't even work out? Like, in order for me to do a bicep curl, I'm not even ready to do a bicep curl. I have to do, my head is like a bowling ball.
Fix your posture.
I have to fix my posture. I'm like a baby.
Yes.
I have to do tummy
You're
time.
misaligned such that if you add 1 pound to the misalignment, it all comes shattering down.
Yes, it all crumbles.
Yeah.
Then once I got the neck injury, I either had to stand like a fucking soldier in order for it not to irritate, or I was at a full 70 degree
Okay, but my
angle.
Some of it is the phone.
The phone?
Some of it is your phone. Because everyone stares at the
Oh,
phone
yeah.
and leans over hard, and that will start it. That'll kick it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
But everyone, when you get sore, you meet like a million different kinds of evangelists for like this notion that like one small thing has this reverberating effect through your body. I'll give you an example. I went to a blind masseur in Miami.
Blind what?
Masseur, not a masseuse. A masseuse is female. A masseur is male.
Massage therapist is, I think, the correct term.
Masseur. Alex, can we look up masseur? I think masseur is actually the correct term.
It's a very specific thing to dunk on us with. Like it's knowledge that you had that I did not. That,
I didn't know masseuse was gendered. Yeah.
Yeah, masseur, a person, especially a man who provides massages.
Especially a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meaning you could be, I guess, a non-binary masseur.
Right,
but
I was about to say
you'd be especially
missex is what we're looking for.
Yes. Yeah. In any case, I went to someone who's a masseur, and he stuck his fucking finger down my throat. He put on a glove, stuck his finger down my throat. I gagged, and he... I swear to God. He goes,
gagged, he came.
It did feel like that.
Does he say this is part of it, or does he just start doing things to you?
He takes his glove off. He's like, all right, now we'll start the massage.
Yeah. Because genuinely, I've never heard of this before, I'm like, you have been attacked.
So he sticks his finger. It hits like the back of my jaw. I gag. And he goes, see how easily you just gagged? And I was like, my eyes were teary, but I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's because your jaw is really tight. And then he starts explaining how your jaw is related to your hips, which is related to your knees, which is related to your heel. And he starts like working on my jaw. And then he does the other side, and I don't gag this time. And he goes, see how you didn't gag? And I was like, thankfully, I see that as well.
Probably because you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The second time he does it, it's like you've done this before.
Yeah. I'm like, you're the gag guy.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Did you walk in and he was just covered in vomit already? Or?
Covered in vomit in his own cum.
It does concern me as a friend that when you were in pain, you went to Reddit
When you have chronic pain, Josh, and the doctor, it takes you 4 years to like get you are in the depths of the fucking internet.
When society fails you, you go to Reddit.
You go to Reddit.
Because this sounds like how people become the Joker. Like it's so, because Reddit also, I've had people give really helpful feedback before, but I've also had some of the most unhinged replies.
And you have to decipher.
Yeah.
And frankly, I try all of them.
You're going to shoot up a movie theater and your manifesto is going to be all about posture. I want to live in a world where we all keep our heads high and slightly back relative to where we feel we should.
Well, that's my news. What's news with you, Josh?
So my thing is also gym related, which is kind of crazy that you had a gym thing or a social thing. And I did some shows in St. Louis, and the hotel that I stayed at was this like Homewood Inn Suites.
Yes.
So it's nice because it's like you actually have forks and spoons in the room, and some bowls and a fridge, real fridge, you know. And the gym in this hotel was so nice because it had the full on rack for squats. It had weights, dumbbells up to 85.
Oh,
from
that's
like
rare.
5 to 85. Yeah. And then it had lots of space and some machines, right? And so I get in there. I almost don't know what I'm going to do, because usually if you do get into a gym at a hotel, you
got like one option.
You got like one option, and it's usually a treadmill with like a little divot in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that way you can just step into a pothole every time. And so then I start working out. This guy comes in, he's an older guy, comes in while I'm working out.
There's always one old man at the gym at the hotel who has not worked out in 50 years, and he's like, decided that this is the day.
He's wearing his son's high school football merch every time.
Yes, he does not have the right shoes.
Yes.
He's in Crocs.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that happens is, like, anytime they come in there, I think they go in for the reason I go in. This is a nice gym. This gym is too nice not to use. Like, usually the excuse is like, oh, there's only one treadmill, somebody's on it, or whatever. This is a nice gym. And so he comes in while I'm working out. He comes in, hurts himself, and leaves.
How did he hurt himself?
It was behind me, so I don't know exactly what he was doing.
Did you hear him moan?
He goes, no, like, this is the sound of reps.
You sure he wasn't jerking off behind you, Josh? Just a huge fan?
Maybe. This man, because he gets like 6 and he's up. And then I hear some weights being put back, and then I hear the door.
You know what?
And I was
he did what I did.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing enough tummy time. He didn't have the posture.
Might have been you. Have you been in St. Louis recently?
It could have been me.
Yeah. So that was like, first of all, the injury was a mystery. The way that he left was almost like the way people leave in a sitcom, where by the time I got to turn around, the door was closed. And so I was just like, man, I genuinely thought about that dude way too much the whole weekend. I thought about him the whole weekend because I was like, is that going to happen to me? What did he do? What was he working out? What did he do wrong? Because I've hurt myself before just doing, like, whether it was not warming up enough or just doing something stupid. And so, he was considerably older than me, but still, it was just a thing of, like, to hear somebody's
a reminder of your mortality.
Yeah, to hear someone's whole day change.
Not the
20
day.
seconds. Yeah.
Probably the month.
Maybe the month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, and then he was just.
Puts away his weights, picks up his spine, and walks out.
Well, that was great.
Yeah.
Really good one.
Thanks.
What's news with you, Lucas?
Well, on Saturday, I went to the after party for SNL.
I don't like this.
Living.
You know what? I love what I'm doing lately. You know what?
You're doing so great.
I've been told that the SNL after party is just a space where people look over other people's shoulders waiting to see who the more famous person is behind them. And I feel like I must be in a good place in life because I just had some friends, some of the younger cast members, some of the writers, and we were all just hanging out at a table, having fun. I wasn't looking for anyone famous.
Josh, can I explain something to you?
Okay.
Oh gosh, she's in it. This is gonna be a rant about how my life's been too easy.
No. I'm not. I don't need to tell that to the listener. The listener already knows. The listener can hear your voice and knows how fucking soft you are. Okay.
Also, Ashley would just tell you. She wouldn't turn to me and be like, "Josh, can I tell you something?"
Can I tell you something about Lucas in front of Lucas?
Yeah. No. She would just start talking to you.
Right. Exactly. No, the thing that I think is really funny is all three of us have had an online blow up, and all three of us have very different fan bases. And my fan base is amazing in a lot of ways, and in some ways totally useless, because I remain some sort of outsider to this Hollywood world, despite having this massive blow up.
Yeah.
He gets free stuff. He gets sponsorships. He's at the SNL party. You know what I get?
What?
A free lavender latte when I go to a fucking coffee shop in Kansas City.
A vajazzled Bottom Nation
Vajazzled Bottom Nation cup.
I mean, that is a pretty awesome cup. Yeah, I mean, like
Fuck
that.
you.
No, I'm telling
And Josh
you.
gets to do big venues.
Yeah,
so
Josh
it's like
gets to do massive
everyone gets
venues.
something.
I don't understand what my fame is for. But anyway, continue.
I was at SNL and I was mostly just hanging out with my friends I have some friends who are young at the show, and we were all hanging out, having drinks. And I got eye fucked. Heavily eye fucked. I would say I bottomed for an extraordinarily famous gay male pop star whose name is, I'll say it. I'll say he eye fucked me. I'll make this accusation. Troye Sivan eye fucked me in the ass. In the eye. The ass of my eye. The ass of the eye is in the beholder.
I was about to say it.
So how does that work? Because is it eye bottoming if you don't like move out of the way of the vision?
I think it's eye bottoming if you look back, but you're taking it.
No. And did you take it, Lucas?
I took it.
Did you look?
Do you know what it was?
How could you not?
I was well. Here's the thing. There were a bunch of celebrities there, but I think the celebrity move. I'm not talking about celebrity. Even like, I guess you're the biggest of the three of us, but even you, I'm not talking. I'm talking about like celebrities, like movie celebrities.
Yeah.
Like
back when there was
names.
the fewer, the monoculture is getting smaller and smaller.
Yes.
But
monoculture
Troy
celebrities
is still part of the monoculture.
Yes. So I saw a couple of those types, and your eyes are sort of drawn to them because you know who they are, and their eyes are naturally averting yours because they know you know who they are.
Right.
So as I was accustomed to, I expected this very famous mono celebrity to avert my eye line. I looked at him, he looked at me, and then he took his look and he fucked me with it. In my eye ass.
And not gently.
Not gently whatsoever.
Fucking.
I guess my thing is when you feel like someone is coming on to you, do you get in your head at all about the prospect of like them coming on to you, or like does it make you feel a certain way or anything, like generally being hit on or
asking
looked up
for a
and
friend.
down? Because I guess I'm just curious because I feel like so many people want to get at you. You know what I mean? Like,
people want to get at you.
People do want to get at
but
you.
we're talking about Lucas.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I just mean from the time that I've known you, right?
Right.
Like even from the first times we would be on a show together at Sesh, there was just this like, where is he? Like,
there's definitely an energy like that.
And
sometimes that can happen.
And it wasn't like a sweet energy. It was like I have to find him. And I would always be nervous for you because I was like, oh, that must be a lot of pressure to like, because I'm sure you want to be cordial with people, but then you're also like you said, you have a girlfriend and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and also women will be a little more handsy than men will.
Yes. Because they know they're not a threat physically.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Women are pretty handsy. Well, the real question is, Troy,
Yes.
you would.
Oh, if I were single and Troy won. No, because I couldn't just jump into the deep end with my first gay experience being on the world stage. If I was going to do
I think Troy would be so into it.
Well, so Troy probably listens. Troy.
He's a patron.
Troy's a patron. At the $20 tier, I will interact directly with Troy.
Can you step it up? $20. You can afford more.
I don't. I think I would have so much fear going into a gay interaction for the first time. I don't think I could start with Troy. Okay. I don't think the fame would push me over the gay hump. I think the
gay hump is also what Troy would be doing to you.
I feel like
the gay hump is what I'm going to do later with you.
Yes.
I feel like it would be the most pressure of all time to date like someone who is so like comfortable with themselves in a form where most humans are not comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like to date a celebrity who is like comfortable with their own skin would probably be like dating a king. You'd be like, I don't even know what, and they know all the decorum and they know all the moves, and they already know where all the places are. Like, oh, we can't leave that way. There's a secret door.
Right. It would be a crazy power dynamic.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I'm straight and he's gay, so that would be a weird dynamic.
I think he'd be into it. I think we have to move forward. I think we've done too much news.
Okay.
This was great news.
This was great news.
So much great news. Good news.
Thank you for the news.
Should we get to the voice memos?
The voice memos?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We got the news from our listeners, our field reporters on the ground at Cleo, giving their news. Let me know.
Say verbally what you think of a Cleo.
Sorry. Okay, this is what I want to say. Is this Ashley's fan?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just be clear. Ashley's fans are incapable of not being just weird as fuck on all regards. Just be a normal name, saying normal shit, acting in normal ways. A Cleo, I don't care if it is a chosen name, if it is a French name, if it is some sort of ethnic name. I don't give a fuck. Just be normal for a second.
How is it
pull it together.
EKLEEL.
No, it's not. Nothing's spelled that way.
Let me see.
Now, I am just going off whatever they labeled their Instagrams because I didn't have full names.
Yeah, that's a good thing to go off, Alex. And their Instagram should not be labeled Ecleel.
Alex, what does Ecleel, our field reporter, have to say?
News from Ecleel on the ground.
Hello. What's new in my town? What's new in my town is that the river goats are terrorizing the tourists. I live in a small town in New Zealand, and there's a river, and then there are these goats. They're known as the river goats. They basically don't belong to anyone. They just roam the river and do whatever the hell they want. Recently, I was at work, and someone said, hey, I hate your town. So I work for like a tech company outside of the small town, and I said, why? It's a beautiful place. And then he went, oh, we went down, we wanted to go like rafting down the river, and the goats were really, really mean to us. They scared the children. They were attacking the boat, which is very normal for the river boats. Everyone knows that, you know.
Right, wait, pause it for a second if that's possible. Everybody knows you can't raft down this river, the goats.
It's also, I'm so interested in what mean is in this context, because were they being mean to you, or were they
just being goats?
Were they goats? Do you know what I mean? Like that.
Goats be goatin'.
Saying the goats were mean is like saying the sharks were racist. It's like they are going to attack. You're there.
It's also,
it does feel like you're playing the human card a little bit.
A little bit, where it's like you can't personify every action that the animal does, especially if you're trying to go rafting and they're like, I don't know, because goats don't know what rafting is, so they're like, are you food? Or are you a goat? Like, they have no context for the world.
Yeah.
Right.
So you trying to raft in front of a goat, I can see how it would piss it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, at one minute you're this two-legged goat, and the next minute you're swimming as a big eight-legged monster.
Anytime that any human gets mad at an animal for animal behavior, I want to shoot that human in the head.
Yeah, it's like when it's,
I just want to. I want to take
also
that
so stark.
Human,
That's
no, it's deserving. That's what they deserve. They don't have any respect for this fucking planet.
Yeah, you got to respect the river goats.
You got to respect
the river goats.
Yeah,
if you go skateboarding next to a dog and the dog barks, are you freaked out by that? Probably not, because you expect that.
Right.
You must expect and respect the river goats. And may I add, each river has rapids. I assume that's how they're going rafting. There's a current, there's rapids. If it's a class 1 rapid all the way up to class 6.
Ugh, you with the fucking...
I'm just saying add a class.
I grew up with $1 billion.
If there's goats, add a class. If it's a class 3 rapid and there's goats, class 4.
The fact that you
know... A true rafter.
Yes.
Would go around the goats. Factor that in.
Wait.
As you are.
And these classes of rapids, they matter because...
He's being rich.
I know, I could tell. But
it's like a caste system for rapids.
And so with the class, what's the highest class? A?
6.
Because I thought you said a letter. I was so sure you had class B or class C.
No,
or
1, 2, 3, 4,
It's
5,
all
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if goats are there, it's got to be at least a 3.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, okay.
Goats are akin to a waterfall in terms of how gnarly they are. I would say.
And so you're just saying that like if you're a beginner, you really shouldn't even be over here.
Yeah, you're not.
Like if
you're certainly not in a place where you could dodge goats.
Also, fuck you for not Googling that goats might be on the rapids. Fuck you.
Yeah, that is a weird expectation.
You can't just go rafting and not scope it out. Let's continue the tape because this is actually
that's essentially the tape.
Well, let's just hear it.
Yeah, Cleo has a lot.
They are going up and down the river, terrorizing tourists and people who come to like do rafting and things like that.
I mean, listen, goats are naughty. Goats can be naughty. They're territorial.
Yeah.
And if their territory isn't the river, maybe they're coming down to the river to bathe or drink. Maybe they should be prepared for the occasional tourist who stands up to them.
Can I pitch you this? I'm glad that the goats are willing to do sometimes what the locals are not. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because especially as Americans, we go to other countries, we expect them to know English and get out of our way or be in our way if we want a picture of them. And then now you got these goats being like, hey, this is New Zealand, dog. We don't do that over here. We don't play like that. And so then the goats, they start hammering their head against whatever. I don't even know what type of goat does that, but
also just what a fucking badass goat that it can take down a moving raft. That's pretty fucking sick.
This is what I'm imagining is happening. Initially, the goats were going there to drink. The rafters were swinging by, and it's a lot like when you're about to step into traffic, but you hear the horn, so you stop and the car zooms by your face. And because goats don't have like the technically like the object permanence and like the way to like distill an idea into the future or anything.
I've always said that about goats. That they lack object permanence.
We are now in goat psychology.
But I'm just saying that rather than knowing in that moment, oh, okay, I don't want that to happen again. Maybe I'll drink higher up. Maybe I'll whatever. They're like, if that ever happens again, I'm killing everybody. Like that just seems like what a goat would think.
Yeah.
And so the next time a raft passes by, maybe they try to bite the raft or like grab a oar or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time
you put a goat in a fight or flight position, it's gonna fight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fight a goat without a weapon. Like I think.
Yeah,
I mean, like if I had something on me,
if you have something on you, the goat also has to have something on it to be a fair fight.
I think if horns is enough.
It has horns, but I think it would. I would love to see some blades coming out of the horn. Would you?
That crab. Remember that crab that grabbed that knife?
Yeah.
Y'all never seen that crab that grabbed that knife?
No, I've never seen it.
There's a crab that it had its claw. And it grabbed it wasn't even a long knife. It was like one of like a little bit sharper than a regular kitchen knife. But then somebody was walking up to the crab with their cell phone, and the crab was backing up, swinging, like.
This is the crab in question.
Oh my God!
Like Shakespeare swinging.
Yeah.
Like that Romeo and Juliet right before that dude got cut.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, thank you so much for listening, watching the show and everything. If you want your voicemail to be reacted to the way that one just was, all you have to do is hit us up on patreon.com/WNWY. And we will make sure to prioritize your voicemails in episodes.
And it's a great way to keep this podcast going. It supports me and Josh, but not just us, our producer, Alex. It makes this possible. Do we want to do one more, Josh?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do one more.
Yeah.
All right.
We have a lot from the beginning. I think we can shave down.
Yeah.
This next news story is from our field reporter, Jord.
Thank God I've already done the rant.
Voice memos. We have a guy in our town who rides around with a parrot on his shoulder, and we never really knew why until we found out that he's been doing this for years, by the way. Like, we have seen him for years. But he rides around with this parrot, and this parrot was his wife's parrot. And his wife died. He has 2 parrots. He takes his wife's parrot out because they became really good friends because it became sad when his wife died. So he just takes it out on his bike. Like, he just rides around with it. And it'll say, like, I deliver the mail, so he will drive by. He will ride by. And this parrot...
Jord, you are a U.S. government... You are a mailman. You're a mail person.
Jord.
You're a mail person.
I don't want to gender Jord, especially because if I know anything about Ashley's fan base, they hate being gendered. But stop it with where in Portland do you live? Because Jord the mail person is just such a
Jord the mail person delivering mail to the guy with the grief bird.
Look, this is... I
Josh,
think y'all are getting hung up on the wrong stuff, because what I heard is that there are 2 pairs, but only one get to leave the house. Because one is his friend, and the other parent is just a prisoner or something. That's wild as hell. There should be 2 pairs. There should be a parent on each shoulder.
He does have 2 shoulders.
If you have 2 parrots and you only take one out, you got to figure out what to do with this other parrot, because that other parrot probably hearing stories, because parrots talk.
Yes, they do. They talk. They gossip.
And so I'm sure that other parrot get back, he's saying all new sentences and stuff. And then now this parrot is like, I only know like 8 words.
I know 8 words, and then what the new parrot picked up.
He only likes me enough to put me in jail.
I hope he has 1 shoulder. Even so, if he's half a guy, he could put the bird on his half head.
Yeah,
he could put.
They could probably both fit on his arm.
A genuine question I have based off of this, as soon as it started, even before we got to mail stuff, do you think that the parrot thinks that the guy riding around with him is kind of like his slave a little bit? Because this parrot doesn't have to fly to get anywhere. He just gets on a guy and rides him. And it's like...
This is respecting nature.
Yeah,
This is
a story of respect.
We're the new horses.
You never hear of giving a deer a piggyback ride. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's always like, shoot them, let them go, admire them, whatever. This parrot, to my knowledge, from what we're hearing so far, is not having to go out on their own and see the sights.
Well, it's the same way we have to pick up a dog's shit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And I wonder what the parrot thinks of this guy. Because especially if this parrot knows any other parrots, he's already living with a parrot that doesn't get to leave the house.
Right.
And then if he sees another parrot
Parrot
that's like...
King.
Exactly.
Right. He's a shoulder parrot, much like a river goat.
Yeah.
He's in an environment in which he's not typically native, acting like a bit of a pompous asshole.
Because honestly, parrots haven't lived this good for like 400 years.
Right.
Because it used to be they were on that dude's shoulder on the boat.
Yeah.
Right.
And even then, you only want to fly so far away.
Pirate.
Yeah, pirate. Yeah, pirate.
Dude.
I just didn't know if everybody who kept a bird on their shoulder was a pirate.
Could there have been just sea navigators who were not trying to steal booty, but did have
I like
parrots?
the idea of a pirate or a non-pirate being like, everyone calls me a pirate just because of my parrot.
Yeah. And just
why are you stereotyping me? I just like birds
I
in
have
the
a peg leg, a parrot, and one of those triangle hats, but I do not steal from other boats.
I do not pillage. I'm a nice guy.
I had an accident. My eye's a little wonky. It doesn't make me a pirate. Yeah.
We've lost the plot here a little bit with
100%.
Parrot male person.
That's essentially it. But I'll continue.
I'd love to hear
Parrot will
George.
sit and like yell at me and say hello and call me pretty, and it's just really funny.
It's a catcalling
I'm
parrot.
hoping the parrot
That's
is
my
The
whole
parrot.
shit.
The parrot.
Oh, okay.
It's a catcalling parrot.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, but this dude taught that parrot to do that.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
A parrot only learns from what it sees. So
Yes. That parrot got home and he was like, "Listen, next time we out,
I'm not allowed to do it.
you got to lay down game, okay? They haven't come for y'all yet, all right?
Smile more. Smile more. Smile more. Smile more. I do a pretty good parrot.
Oh, that's great.
Should we wrap with our stories?
Yeah, let's do them. Okay. So the news that's happening, the news with You the World, is also in New Zealand. So basically in New Zealand, they have imposed at the airport a 3-minute limit on hugs, or else you have to use the car park because I guess they're having so much trouble with people hugging it out for more than 3 minutes. A 3-minute hug is sex.
Yeah, that's foreplay for sure.
A 3-minute hug is so long.
That's a really long time.
It requires shifting.
Yeah, you need to shift
Within
your
the hug.
feet.
I've been hugged at a funeral for less than a minute. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, of course.
And it felt very long.
Yes.
It was like
I do feel violated after a certain amount of time.
after a minute and a half of a hug, we kiss or you let go.
If I'm not inside of you by the end of that 3 minutes,
Like,
what are we doing?
Because you really have to sit there for like in your head. If I sound like I'm being unreasonable to the listener, I want you to count to 180.
Yeah,
And then imagine someone was holding you the whole
the
time.
entire time. Yeah.
And they weren't like in love with you. Like I understand end of a rom-com, it's still a little excessive for that, but end of a rom-com, I get it. Like this person's leaving New Zealand forever, 2.5.
Yeah.
But 3 is like,
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
This is New Zealand, right? 3-minute hug.
Mhm.
Is it possible they're consolidating into double body weight to avoid the stampede of river goats? that at the airport, there are river goats charging, and one person enough is not heavy enough to withstand the attack. But if you were to do a 3-minute hug, then when the river goats rush, you can withstand the stampede.
A rush of river goats is what they call them. Yes.
An RORG.
I guess.
Yeah.
Do they have like a problem with groping
In New Zealand?
Yeah.
In New Zealand? I don't know.
I believe so, yes.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is this just
Yeah.
women trying to find ways to get men off
to
of them?
Watching Alex,
That's
watching Alex look up, does New Zealand have a problem with groping? Is the funniest.
Specifically, just search New Zealand groping issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything?
No.
No
Nothing.
results. Yeah.
Nothing
No,
comes to
they're
mind.
they're very like polite and kind people.
Yeah.
You know?
They have the same problems as we do. Southern border, river
River
goats.
goats.
I mean, it's pretty standard country.
Yeah, yeah. I genuinely think that it's one of those things where if you're coming home as well, a 3-minute hug is still excessive. For
Way too
war,
much.
maybe.
War, maybe.
War. Because
War, and it's a dog. Because the
Yeah,
dog
yeah.
has no fucking idea. Again, respect nature.
Yeah.
The dog thinks you were dead.
Yeah.
Right.
You came back from the grave.
Yeah.
Maybe a baby.
Is it 3 minutes of cumulative hugging? What if it's a big group and you have to hug one by one?
Oh,
You have like
that's a
8
good
hugs
question
to get
though.
through, because
That's a
if
good
you-
question because they don't specify.
Because maybe it's only 30 seconds a hug, but you have
Yeah.
over 6 people. Now you have a
Yeah.
3.5 minute
because they
hugging total.
they interviewed what seems like is the CEO of the
HT.
airport, and he weighed in with an interview on the radio, and he described the airports as hotbeds of emotion.
Has this guy been through a divorce recently? This sounds like this man has been through a
It sounds like he's
fucking
triggered
divorce.
by other people's hugs.
Other
Yeah.
people's hugs.
Because he's quoted.
Are you sure it's
saying,
not 10 seconds, but it feels like 3 minutes to him because
Yeah,
he's so caught up in the emotion?
He's
I
seeing
mean,
people.
maybe.
He's seeing people happy.
Yeah.
Seeing their loved ones. Maybe his daughter was taken away from him, and now he can't he can't handle.
He's quoted here pointing to a study suggesting that a 20-second hug is enough to get a burst of the love hormone, oxytocin.
This guy's an asshole. I don't like him.
And argued that moving customers along quickly allows more people to get more hugs.
Fuck off. No one's hug is hurting anyone else's hug.
He's trying to maximize the most people getting the fewest hugs.
If I hated hugs so much, I'd be like, y'all hug in the car. Do that half hug thing. Lean over the cup holders and hug.
Why don't they give them a station like they give smokers?
I think that's what the free parking is.
Oh, the car park is for hugging.
Yeah, they were like, there's always those people that are like blowing the whistle at like the airport at LaGuardia and JFK, and they're like, come on, let's go, whatever. Yeah. I like the idea of a very sweet moment, like like a tender, maybe it's like a father-daughter, he's never said I love you sort of thing. Or it's like two people who know they should be together, but there's an opportunity in the States and they know that they have to go. And they're hugging and maybe they're like a minute and a half in, but the guy in the vest thinks it's going to go long. And he's like, take that shit to the car park. Nah. Because there is a place that I guess you can hug as long as you want if you go to the...
Yeah, it's called home.
Yeah, it is. That's
there should be a max on hugs even at the car park. By the way, to say if you want a hug for over 3 minutes, go to the car park is incentivizing people to go to the car park and do weird shit. They should say don't hug for more than 3 minutes at the airport. If you're gonna do it, go over there.
Hugging for over 3 minutes is a drug deal.
There's cum all over the car park now. There's a new problem.
Yeah.
Can I do mine?
Yes, please.
Okay, this article is from Greece. So let me just read to you the first couple sentences of this article. A judge in northern Greece on Thursday imposed a suspended 1-month prison sentence on a man convicted of disturbing his neighbors by repeatedly sneaking into their properties to smell their shoes. The Greek man told the court that he was unable to explain his behavior, which he said caused him great embarrassment. Now, you might think I'm mad at the man. Nay, I am mad at the neighbors. Because apparently the shoes were on the porch. Okay, stick with me here. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Fuck you for turning this guy in. If you have a crazy neighbor that is coming over and sniffing your shoes and is so embarrassed about it that he pleads guilty. Like he's not trying to say he's not sniffing. He knows he's sniffing the shoes. Yeah. The man has a problem. Yeah. This guy is sniffing these shoes because, look, no one's fucking this man. So if you are shaming him for sniffing your shoes, which is benign.
Okay.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's not the worst.
You probably
I'm
don't
just
even
saying,
know.
if I were living in this house, I'd be putting shoes out for him to sniff. Because
if we can put breadcrumbs out for pigeons.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But now this man, if he's on
it's
your
cookies
lawn,
for Santa Claus.
Yes.
It's a glass of wine for Elijah for the Jews listening.
If he's sniffing these shoes,
Yeah.
that means there's one woman safer in the neighborhood.
Now,
do you see what I'm saying?
I get you, and I am not against your rant at all. I just have some questions.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because it definitely it's definitely not the take I thought that you would have, right? So then I'm wondering, if you find out this dude is getting laid, does it completely change everything?
Absolutely. Fuck you. Fuck you. What is this for? Because that's what makes men crazy. That's why men shoot up schools and chase down women, because they have some sort of weird biological thing happening to them that needs to be satisfied.
Yes,
and if shoes, that's something that I'm willing to do as a member of the community to keep other women safe.
Right.
Also, using
Give us your sick, you're hungry, your shoes.
your sniffers.
Yes.
Using government resources to take down a shoe sniffer is not something that... This is what all cops are bastards. They're going after the shoe sniffer. This is not the fucking problem.
I mean, can I just take the other side of this? Sort of give a mouse a cookie, give a moose a muffin, give a sniffer a shoe. What's next? How does this
It's a sniffery slope.
Jeez.
It is a very sniffery slope.
Well, let me just say this. Back in the day, you would not let this man... You would not call the cops on this man. That's Karen behavior. What you would do is you would, and maybe there's no women in this household, and that's why this is happening. What you would do is you would tell all your neighbors, and you'd use simple exile. You use sort of disgust and shame.
Yeah.
To remove him from the community.
Or you would
be normal.
Or you would just catch him sniffing your shoes when you were about to go to work, and you would start beating his ass.
Yes.
With the shoe.
Yeah. Which is a win for everybody. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Hitting him over the head with the very thing that turns him on.
That's a win for everyone.
Gonna beat him in a fight or beat him off? Yeah.
Get an OnlyFans. Tell him to buy him an OnlyFans.
This okay. Off of that, yes, I agree, because I do think that people throw out shoes all the time. So if you really don't want this dude over here, maybe you're like, hey, look, I got 2 pairs.
Yes.
This should hold you for a couple months. Right? I worked out in them. Like I got some runs in those.
Yeah.
I got some real stink going. Right? If this doesn't take care of you for a while, you a real pervert. And I can't be around you. Okay?
Yeah, he's very respectful of the kind of the indoor-outdoor. That's the thing. The porch thing is really where it gets complicated. Is it a screen porch or is it an open-air porch?
I don't know.
He's also not taking the shoe.
No.
And that's where I feel like there's a disconnect, because if we would just give him a shoe.
This is a guy clearly trying his best. He knows that he is fucked up.
Yeah.
See, that's where I get angry, because he's trying. It's not his fault that he's a shoe pedophile. Like he's a delinquent. He's a pedophile, petty-phile. It's not his fault.
We're assuming these are adult shoes.
I would assume they're adult shoes. If
you
he's
understand
sniffing,
what
by the way,
no, I'm with
he's a predator.
Yeah.
He knows he's a predator.
If he's sniffing kids' shoes, put him back in jail. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean,
the shoes
honestly,
better be adult shoes.
Yeah,
if they are
if
the kids' shoes, back in jail. Forget what we said. That's too weird.
Yeah.
It's a line. There's a line, and it's don't go in the house and don't take the kids' shoes. And if you stay on the porch and you sniff the adult shoes and you feel weird about it, as you should, you shouldn't go to jail.
Right. In my opinion, this is a man trying to reform. I see a man trying to heal. That's what I see. And that's why, as a woman, to protect other women, I think we have to look at people like this and say, you know what? You're doing your best. Here's a sock. Go have fun.
Yeah.
You reach a certain point in a podcast recording where you know it's time to stop. Thank you for being here, Lucas. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, lucaszelnick.com. That's where all my tour dates will be then.
Anything you want to plug, Josh?
If you go to joshjohnsoncomedy.com, I will have my tour dates available with tickets to the shows I'll be doing.
Yeah, me too. AshleyGavin.com. Sign up to get a text when I'm in your city. It's super helpful. Josh has an email list. Lucas has an email list. You can donate to get the full version of this podcast at patreon.com/WNWY. Yes.
Yeah.
It makes it possible. It pays Alex. It helps us do what we do. Look at this set, sort of.
Yeah.
We threw this together.
Don't sort of look at it. Look at this
look
set.
Look at this sort of set.
Yeah. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for telling us the news with you.
Yes, thank you to our field reporters, Jord and Cleel.